Welcome to another live edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline in the BPTV studios. Brr, it's cold today. The weather changed. Got to feel what fall weather actually is like today.
It's so cold, your shirt turned purple.
I know. I know. I put it on just for that. What can you do? I'm Al.
It was red when he woke up this morning.
Yeah, I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. That was Chip Hayner with his little interjection there and some humor. Smoking Jim is eating the pizza that was sponsored by, we'll go right to it, Olive Oil's Pizzeria. 1XL for us. How is that pizza, Smoking Jim?
Delicious. It's the best pizza he's ever had.
And they're right there at Hillcrest, 412-831-1900. We'll have some more promotional stuff, but I want to thank everybody for watching us on Comcast 7 only in Bethel Park. Got a lot of great feedback over the last week, so thanks for watching. And yes, I'm that TV guy on there, and we just celebrated our 6th anniversary. 6 years of shows, and we'll keep on going. We're strong here. Everybody's here today. You got Devin Shea in the control room. We got Ethan. What are you doing?
They would need to see the white.
No, the white, we already got it. We're white balanced, buddy.
Yeah.
Smoking Jim, you're a little behind the times. And we got Johnny Mariano in
All
here.
right,
If his mother's listening, I repeated it again for the 3rd week in a row, and he's here helping us out with sound. So thanks, Johnny. Thanks for watching us on Verizon 32 in Bethel Park and all the surrounding areas from Nemacolin to Cranberry, Wexford. We appreciate you out there, and we lost 1 like on our Facebook page. We're at 6,542 likes. Thanks for watching our shows and liking us. We appreciate that.
How much is it going to cost to get that like back? We're taking up a collection.
My daughter told me a story with Facebook when we had like 100 likes and then we were at 99, 98. I said, Case, you know, we got people liking us. What's going on? She goes, Dad, there's haters out there. They like the show, then they don't like the show. You just got to deal with it. So 6,400 and some later, thanks for liking our show. We appreciate that. Whether you hate us or love us, just like us. We'd like to hit 10,000. But that's what we're doing. I got some promos here. I already showed the one. I don't know if you missed it. Olive Oil's Pizzeria, 412-831-1900. They got specials all over the place. Just read it there, call them. Go pick it up or have it delivered. They can deliver it to you. So next is the Bethel Park Historical Society has the Schoolhouse Arts and History Center. What a nice venue it is. Has 105 brand new windows. Now it's all there. They got concrete out front. The steps are all done. The trolley's there. Donate $1, maybe $2 there. They got different events that they have there. Check it out. We always end our shows with Stay Joey Strong. This is the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation. Donate as little as $1 there. Check out all their activities that they have in the community. And they are 501c3, so all of the money goes to a doctor and doctors looking for a cure for DIPG, the brain cancer that killed Joey Fabus before his 9th birthday. There's an event going on. I don't know if we can see this. Muay Thai. And we had a guest on the show November 4th. Check it out. Let me see. Ross Township Community Center. Check out Andy Anderson's event. Dan Bogan, the ring announcer, dreadlocked DJ, will be announcing. So stay tuned for that. A lot of great Muay Thai fights. If you have a group in Bethel Park, the Bethel Park Community Foundation can give you money if you get an application at bpcf.org. This paper's getting a little weak, but we put it out there every week from $100 to $5,000. They just had a community day where they gave out smoke detectors. So, Smoking Jim, you should be living in Bethel Park. Get your free smoke detector for those in need. Ran into a guy the other day and he said, "I like that Uncle Sam picture of you." I said, "Wait a second. That's Al Levine, the talking machine, with his head on the Uncle Sam. I want you for BPTV. Look, we got Johnny, we got Ethan, we got Devin. Call Dave Cable, 412-831-3304. Hey, that's all I got for you. Now we're going to go into a sponsored segment by Skeets Lewandowski of Skeets Service Station. He sponsors What's on Your Mind with Pittsburgh Sportsline. And you can check him out at, let me see if I got that number here, 724-348-4715. Skeets Service Station, they work on anything that runs on gas. Just think about it, from lawnmowers, cars, trucks, tractors. They even have a forge for making knives. They got a hammer to make other equipment there. They're doing all kinds of things out there. Check out Skeets Lewandowski, Skeets Service Station. Now I got to ask Smoking Jim Frazier, what's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
okay, I'll give an arc.
See, Levine.
Whoa!
Oh, got it. Oh, if I don't know. Am I a Jets receiver?
No. You look like AB. You look like AB. It bounced off somebody's head.
But you see that play they called back against the Jets, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, what a bad call. But anywho,
that can happen. The human element.
It was reviewed by Chip and it was ruled a catch. So
Yeah,
who?
It's computers.
But I'm dedicating this show to the Rookie of the Year, Steve. Hope everything's okay, buddy. You're missed by all. Also, got to give a shout out to my main man, Devin Shea, that hooked me up with this hat, to my second favorite team franchise, the Pittsburgh Penguins, right behind the Golden State Warriors and my Cubbies. And
you know, that's 3 teams.
1A, 1B.
And that is Smoking Jim Frazier. Thanks for what's on your mind. Can we get to that?
So what's on my mind is well, first of all,
no, second of all. You already gave us first of all.
I know you guys all heard about the famous saying that behind every good man is a surprise mother-in-law.
Never heard that.
Not only
Never
am I
heard that.
surprised, but I'm sure that Keith Butler's mother-in-law is surprised how well the defense played. So congratulations, Keith Butler. I'm on your case a lot, but job well done. But what's on my mind is the Pittsburgh Sportsline Player of the Week. And got some nominees out here. Now, you know what? Let me go to the team of the week first. Team of the week, we have to
Hold it. What's going on there? I'm trying to keep track of this.
Yeah, we're going to start off with the Pittsburgh Sportsline Team of the Week. Here's honorable mention. Got to go to Bell Vernon, 21-17 over Thomas Jefferson.
The Leopards.
Bell Vernon is undefeated.
Yeah, they're undefeated. Gateway's lost.
You heard that? You heard that from Chip. Are they in the same classification?
No,
Okay.
they're not.
Okay. So
What's next?
The Leopards luck out. How about Aliquippa? Aliquippa be previously unbeaten Quaker Valley, but Aliquippa's only given up 1 touchdown all season long. Congratulations to the Quips. How about what I'm looking forward to is them losing. Steel Valley won 21 games in a row. So anybody out there, you got a root beer on me if you beat Steel Valley.
They're texting me right now.
Where
do I get that root beer from? Smoking Jim.
Let's knock them off. But how about California? 38-6 over the number 2 rated team, Rochester. California's rolling. They got a running back that weighs 262 pounds, a black kid, and he's only a junior in high school. 262 pounds, and he can really, really run. University of Pittsburgh
If he was white, would you have said what he weighs?
Try to sign low, because California usually don't have that many black players.
Oh, really?
So maybe Perry Kemp stopped by 15 years ago. But
What do you mean?
how about
You got to explain this to us, buddy.
But the Pittsburgh Sportsline Team of the Week goes to friend of the show, Charleroi. Charleroi knocked off previously unbeaten Burgerstown 37-14 in Class 2A ball. And we go to the Pittsburgh Sportsline Players of the Week. I got to give an honorable mention to Seton LaSalle's the L Train. Lionel Deans, he ran for 288 yards. And as we move down, there's been a lot of guys who were part of the Pittsburgh Sportsline guest list. Good karma. How about Tank Smith?
Yeah.
From Penn Hills, 168 yards rushing. How about the quarterback, Hollis Mathis, that was a guest? He threw for 261 yards and 3 touchdowns. How about Gino from Charleroi, Pellegrini? He threw for 369 yards.
Your reading has gotten better, Smoking Jim.
Thank you.
It's them good glasses.
And the Pittsburgh Sportsline Player of the Week, unanimously to the Pittsburgh Sportsline favorite high school team of the week, goes to Brady Walker from Gateway, 405 yards.
They finally passed
about 5 touchdowns. He's over 6,000 yards for a career, right?
They couldn't do it before the other two kids came up just very short, right?
And so, hey,
I have a question.
Brady Walker, 6,000 yards.
How did he get unanimously chosen there?
I think everybody, wouldn't you agree, Chip? You got to give it to
choice
him.
of one.
Yes.
When you agree, wouldn't you have gave it to him?
He did, but
And the Rookie of the Year text me, he had Brady Walker too.
And the player that deserves special recognition, you omitted, but I'll take care of his recognition.
Thank you, sir. And that's what's on my mind.
And he's from the South Hills, that is.
Yeah. Thank you, Smoking Jim Frazier.
And don't forget about Tanner Volpatti, outstanding running back for
Want to mention
Park.
that?
Over 100 yards rushing and an 84-yard touchdown reception. I'm not sure what year he's in school, but he's a tough runner.
Thanks for mentioning Bethel Park after Gateway.
I went to college with a guy who had a similar name, and I texted him. And I says, hey, you related to this kid from Bethel Park? And I looked at the spelling and the name. Close, but not the same, so they're not related. He didn't text me.
Sort of like how Frazier is.
He didn't text me.
Sort of like the name Frazier in the community,
I said,
Frazier.
The kid really runs hard, man. You related to him, man.
It sounds similar.
It both starts with a V.
That's good.
Ends in an I.
And you got like 35 degrees or something from Cal U? Okay. General Studies. All right. Thank you very much, Smoking Jim Frazier. Chip Hayner, what's on your mind after that long what's on your mind, buddy?
Jim, I do appreciate the fact that Jim reads the Saturday paper.
No, he brings it.
And he follows, and he's got a passion for football. Let's not be deluded. And I have a passion for high school football because I see really that's the true essence of the game. If you really are interested in watching a football game and not all the nonsense that goes on before it, after it, and most of the times during it.
Yeah.
But I think Jim does have a slightly biased opinion. This is not breaking news, folks. So I just wanted to make sure that some of the
Hold it, here's breaking news. Penn's 1-0 on Kessel's goal.
Good deal.
My second favorite team.
Okay, so to give mention to a couple of high school athletes that do, I think, deserve recognition. When it comes
Let's ask Smoking Jim.
When it comes to receiving yardage in the regular season, there has never been a whippeal receiver like Aiden Kane. Mm-hmm. Kane is a senior at Mount Lebanon who broke the WPIAL regular season record for receiving yardage Friday when he caught 7 passes for 148 yards against Peters Township. Kane now has 1,343 yards on 73 catches, breaking the mark of 1,330 yards set in 1987 by Avonworth's Mike Grau.
Never heard of him.
Probably. Mount Lebanon has 2 games remaining, and Kane has a chance at the WPIAL regular season receptions record of 86, set in 2004 by Seton LaSalle's Carmen Connolly.
I loved him.
Okay.
Went to West Virginia.
I know the Conley family.
Well, so
They're related to the
something to
Gradkowski
pay
family.
attention to as you monitor the Blue Devils scorebook next week. And then what a turnaround for Shadyside Academy this year. The Indians were winless a year ago and forfeited their final game because of lack of players. Now under first-year coach Chuck DiNardo, they are 5-2, battling for a playoff spot, and feature a quarterback who has joined an exclusive club. In a victory Friday against Avonworth, Sky Moore, a 5'10", 190-pound junior, became only the 7th player in WPIL history to throw for 1,000 yards and run for 1,000 yards in the regular season. So, Jim overlooks things.
And Dino Tomlin, Coach Tomlin, caught 2 touchdown passes in that game for over 113 yards.
See? Now, how come that didn't warrant being mentioned? If you got a bias against Coach Tomlin.
What's bias mean? At least he has integrity.
So now you asked me what's on my mind. I just wanted to add a little spice to what Jim had done, because I do think that, high school football in Western Pennsylvania is huge. You probably get a bigger turnout if you combine all the people that go see high school football games than you do probably on Sundays to see the Steelers play.
It's alive and well.
So it is alive and well and thriving, and a lot of great young athletes that play for nothing more than the love of the game. But you ask me what's on my mind, and I becoming somewhat disillusioned with the NFL, all the nonsense that goes on before the games and after the games and most of the time during the games. But, we have a huge victory for the Steelers this past Sunday. And, what do we spend the last 2 days listening to on social media but some kind of a nothing happening story about a certain Steelers wide receiver that may or may not have requested to be traded. Okay, who cares? All right? I mean, you've got the Pittsburgh Steelers that beat the last undefeated team in the NFL this past Sunday in their home stadium. And not only did the Steelers beat them, they dominated them. The offensive line dominated their defensive line. Our defensive line dominated their offense to the degree that they had 6 yards of total offense in the first half. Wow. And, if Jim Frazier gives Keith Butler some props, they must have done something right, okay?
Yeah.
Because Jim has never had a good thing to say about him. But, do we talk about any of these things? Do we talk about the miraculous catch Antonio Brown made? Do we talk about Le'Veon Bell just completely running wherever he wanted to go against the Kansas City defense for the 3rd game in a row, okay? Last year at Heinz Field, he ran the ball right down their throat. Last January, we went into Kansas City. He did the same thing. He set a Steeler playoff record. None of this has ever made any of the news. We're talking about defending a reporter who claims that he has sources, of which he will divulge none, that he's got evidence that he requested a trade.
That sounds familiar.
Let me tell you something. The Steelers aren't trading anybody. They never have, and they never will, because they're not going to get anything for him. Martavis Bryant is on the Steelers. He's under contract for this year and for next year. And if he plans on getting another contract, he better start producing and quit dropping the ball when it's thrown to him. And maybe he would become a bigger part of the offense. But not that bothers me.
You digressed a little.
I do. And the only other thing that really bothers me this week is, why does Colin Kaepernick continue to be a lead story in any sportscast? Because I'm just really confused. He ripped up his contract last year so he could become a free agent. So nobody's decided to sign him. Okay. Well, you know what? Every team in the NFL has the right to either sign somebody or not sign somebody for whatever reason they choose. Okay? Now, Colin Kaepernick lost his starting quarterback job for the San Francisco 49ers, who only happened to win one game with him as a quarterback last year. What were they, 1-10? Okay, so that makes him a pretty hot commodity. I understand that. People should have been, tripping over each other to go knock on his door, but that didn't happen. Now he's going to file a lawsuit against the NFL claiming collusion. You should have stayed in school and got a degree, because you're really making yourself look foolish. How are you ever going to prove this? And if, in fact, he were to prove collusion, not only would that he would win his case, but that would also rip up the collective bargaining agreement, which means that all of the other athletes that play in the NFL would now be without a job, without a paycheck. And the owners would still have their teams with all the television contracts. They'll just hire in a new wave of players, and those players will be forgotten. So I really don't think that he's very, very bright. And, he's just a one-trick pony. He was a read option quarterback. Well, the read option offenses are now a thing of the past. 6 years ago, they were the flavor of the month. But the NFL coordinators have figured out how to combat that. So if you do bring Kaepernick into your team, then you've got to completely revamp your offense. Well, let me tell you how well that works. The Steelers have been working on perfecting their offense since last January, okay? They've been doing it for, 10 months now? They still can't get it right. And you're going to bring in some guy off the street and recreate an offense and expect him to be successful? I just think it's kind of foolish. He's foolish, and what a waste of taxpayers' money. But that's what's on my mind.
Good, Chip. Well, Kaepernick, on one little side note, his lawyers have to prove that. He doesn't have to do anything. He just filed the suit, and obviously the lawyers are taking the money to try to prove it. So
looks like collusion to me.
Yeah, and and the owners are just going to give them the evidence because they're foolish. This is when millionaires go to a fight against billionaires. You're going to a gunfight armed with a switchblade.
Well, he might win his case like Donald Trump did, who has a vendetta against the NFL. Donald Trump sued because he was in the USFL, wanted to have a franchise. They didn't like him back then. He ended up suing. He won $1. Then they tripled the damages. He got $3. Then there were some penalties. Yeah, there were some other little penalties in there. So he got $3.16 check from the NFL and chose not to cash it.
No. All right.
But you know what the problem was? That would have taken him to a higher tax bracket.
Well, he was writing off all these losses. He had so many losses back then, it didn't even matter. But that's another story. But on the same note, with Colin Kaepernick taking a year and now he's out of football, forget the collusion trial, no chance there. The NFL and the NFLPA, I just happened to catch it on ESPN for a minute or two. They actually met today together, which in itself is something big to have the NFL and the players actually talking, because they've been disgruntled since the contract was signed. Ryan Clark, the one announcer, said, "Weren't you back there, the player rep for the Steelers in 2011? He goes, "Yeah, and weren't you at the forefront of saying you didn't want to give Goodell all that power?" But they did. So Ryan Clark admitted as much, and the NFL and NFLPA were talking about some of the issues that Colin Kaepernick and others have brought up. I don't know who else they're meeting with, but I just had a couple conversations this past week. What social issues and who are they talking to in the communities is what I would like to know.
The only thing that they're trying to figure out, because you got a loudmouth like Jerry Jones, who's one of the biggest hypocrites on the planet, okay?
Jerry Jones?
Yes. That he wants to, if somebody doesn't stand for the national anthem, then he's going to bench them or punish them. And
they won't play.
Of course, the NFLPA won't stand for that. So the NFL already has a couple of black eyes over this. And so they're trying to figure out, well, geez, we better make nice with the NFLPA because our ratings are already tanking, okay? So what can we do to salvage what's left of our money machine?
And a long, strange path, they've actually met. So that's what my point was today. I had other things on my mind, but that took over the top spot on my mind that they
good.
met together. So that's all I have for you. We'll be back with Smokin' Jim's Fiction and Fact from Smokin' Jim's Almanac.
Thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine, and Chip Hayner, and my man Devin Shea, and Ethan's in there, isn't he, today?
What about Johnny?
My man Ethan, I gotta say a shout out to my man Johnny.
Oh, good.
Gratitude.
What are you eating?
A little chewing gum. I got a little bubble gum. I like a little bubble gum.
All right.
With my Fiction and Fact from Smokin' Jim's Almanac. I don't even need notes for this one.
What?
Okay.
I tell you what.
So this is fiction.
Get ready for loaded up fiction.
Chip actually triggered this one last week.
Uh-oh.
Because I grew up in a household, my dad's favorite sport
Ice skating?
was basketball.
Okay.
Growing up, he loved basketball. Of course, he loved boxing. My dad was a great player, especially off the field. And still to this day, but he used to always talk about how great Connie Hawkins was. You know, Connie Hawkins was the first to ever go from the foul line and dunk the basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Most of these young kids think it was Michael Jordan, but Chip.
What about Julius Irving?
Yeah.
Well,
Julius
Irving
He was after him also.
Julius
Yeah.
Irvin, David Thompson.
Yeah, all the ABA guys. And Chipper's seen a lot of them play for the ABA. I'm sure that Al Levine, the Talking Machine, did too. But when I was growing up, there was a summer basketball league.
What was it
In
called?
Pittsburgh called the Connie Hawkins Summer Basketball League. And it was really a great league that I never really went to. But I'd heard about, people was going there all the time, and I wasn't a basketball fan.
My dad refereed there.
Your dad refereed. There was thousands of people used to go there every night. Bill Neal and the Champions Association ran that league, and at the turn of the century, I got to be the president of Champions Association, and help.
Is that what happened to you?
Yeah, and helped run the Connie Hawkins Summer Basketball League, and we would actually get, the city would donate us. I don't know if you know in East Liberty where the number 2 police station was.
Mm-hmm.
There was the tennis courts and basketball courts and all that there. The city would rent that to us for $1 a year.
Wow.
And we didn't have to buy security, even though we got sponsors for the security that was being put in people's pockets. But because the number 2 police station was right there, so if the gang started shooting,
You called them out.
Man,
911.
beautiful women used to come out and whatnot. And then the league got so big that the Atlanta Constitution one time rated it was one of the top 10 summer basketball leagues in the country. We were the only.
What'd the Courier say?
The Courier had it number 1, I'm sure. And we were the only summer basketball league at that time that was NCAA sanctioned. And most people don't realize that you cannot play on a college scholarship for basketball and play in an organized league unless it's NCAA sanctioned. So we had all the Pitt players and Robert Morris players, all the college players. White Chocolate would come through every once in a while. Jason Williams, some pro players would come through. And when Connie Hawkins would come through, man, you talk about, he would try to come through at least one time a year.
Nice.
The Hawk, man, those hands.
What a nice guy.
Still had the hands. Executive for the Phoenix Suns. What a gentleman. In the league, before it folded, the PlayStation came out with a summer league. And it had 4 leagues in there, the Rector League in New York, and the Connie Hawkins Summer Basketball League was one of the top 4, and PlayStation had it in their street game. So
Nice.
but because of the violence in the city, we had to scrap it about 3 years ago.
Get odds.
But
Where do they play now?
No more Connie Hawkins summer basketball leagues. There's other leagues out there, but the violence got to be, and the violence took place when we couldn't get that for $1 anymore because the number 2 police station moved to Washington Boulevard, so we shut the league down. But
they moved on. That's where I took my driver's test when I was a kid.
Now
they called that Little Washington, on Washington Boulevard. And,
So just to wrap it up is
what?
May Connie Hawkins rest in peace. 75 years old.
Did a lot of good for a lot of people. Right,
and I'm one of the few that found out what he passed away of, and I'll let you guys know off the air.
I appreciate that.
Smoking.
His family asked me not to say it in person.
Out of respect, I can understand that. But
one of his cousins.
And I posted something on Facebook after our show last Wednesday, honoring the Pittsburgh Pipers in 1968, the
that
ABA
was nice.
championship.
That was a good one.
All them guys look alike. I couldn't tell which one was Carly. Which one? I was trying to figure it out, man. Next time, circle, man. Circle the brother.
If I can figure out how.
Smoking, Jim. Thank you for your plenty of fiction, a few little facts, a little hidden fact at the end. We appreciate you.
A lot of good-looking girls at the Carly Hawkins Summer Basketball League, bro.
Like I said, he's a scout of everything.
Thank you, everybody, and good evening to my trivia segment. And I'm going to answer a question that Jim has always wondered about since I've started this gig on this show 6 long years ago.
Yeah.
Okay? And, I've always referred to the National League as the senior circuit. Okay?
Okay.
And you're going to get an explanation as to why, because I am going to give us all, instead of facts and figures and statistics tonight, I'm going to give you a little bit of history of the World Series.
Okay.
Wow, yeah.
So I'm going to do this as quickly as I can. But each year, the primary focus in any professional sport is the race for the championship.
Go Cubbies.
Every sport has their pinnacle trophy, but none is as coveted as baseball's World Series. A best-of-7 contest that celebrates our national pastime, an event as important as any holiday on the calendar. It is as traditional as Thanksgiving and as patriotic as the 4th of July.
Wow.
Okay? And as anticipated as Christmas morning. Over the last century, the World Series has been woven into the fabric of America. America's culture, evolving far beyond mere baseball tournament, has become the game of all games and has continued to provide us with an endless highlight reel of magical moments, evoking childhood memories of agony and ecstasy. Okay, I'm on a roll here, Jim.
Who wrote that crap?
Jim, bear with me here. How would one define the World Series? Is it Willie Mays catching what can't be caught? Don Larson being perfect when perfection is simply not possible? It's Babe Ruth telling the fans and the media where he is going to deposit the next pitch. And a heavily outscored team of Pirates beating the unbeatable Yankees off a 9th inning Bill Mazeroski blast. The World Series is the crushing blow of Fred Snodgrass dropping a routine fly ball, Willie McCovey hitting the final out straight to Bobby Richardson. It's the curse of the Bambino when the loyal Red Sox fans live their entire lives without witnessing a championship, when Yankees fans witness 4 and 5 years.
Wow.
Okay, so to get to the point of this, although the Fall Classic, as we know, it didn't begin until 1903, Major League Baseball had several versions of the postseason championship series before that. In 1884, the Providence Grays of the National League outplayed the New York Metropolitan Club of the American Association in a 3-game series for what was originally called the Championship of the United States. Several newspapers penned the Grays as world champions, and the new title stuck. Over the next 6 years, different variations took place between the National League and American Association pennant winners, ranging in length from 6 to 15 games. The American Association folded unexpectedly after the 1891 season, forcing a suspension of the series. The following year, the National League absorbed 4 of the American Association's former franchises and expanded to 12 teams in an effort to promote the growth of baseball and maintain the public's interest. They played a split season in which the first half winner played the second half winner for the league champion. Many fans did not support the new system, and the split season was promptly dropped in 1893. Wow. In 1894, Pittsburgh's owner, William C. Temple, offered a championship trophy to the winner of a best-of-7 series between the National League's first and second place teams. In addition, he stated that the winning franchise would receive 65% of all ticket sales. The losing team would pocket 35%. Temple's novel idea would last for the next 3 years and help to build the foundation for baseball's postseason popularity. More changes were on the horizon, and in 1901, the American League was established. Okay, that's why the National League is referred to as the senior circuit.
Okay.
The new upstarts was the American League.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Write that down, Smoking Jim.
Okay, the American League was established much to the dismay of the senior circuit. Suddenly, baseball found itself engaged in a civil war as both rival leagues competed separately for the fans' loyalty and attention. 2 years later, a truce, previously known as the National Agreement, was redefined, outlining baseball's employment, salary, and travel requirements. The 1903 compromise produced the business blueprint for Major League Baseball and resulted in a merger that has lasted to this day. Once again, Boston and Pittsburgh, the top American and National League teams, found themselves competing against one another in the first official World Series.
I didn't know that.
And it was a nine-game affair.
9-game series, and it was played down on the North Shore. And there's actually a
Exposition.
park. Yeah, Exposition Park. There's a plaque between Heinz Field and PNC Park down near the river where Exposition Park stood.
Really?
And was
What's
the Pirates'
Expedition?
first home
Exposition.
up until 1909 when Forbes Field was built.
I didn't know that.
Well, we know you're not a baseball guy.
But now the mystery has been solved as to why the National League is called the Senior Circuit.
I'll never forget it.
Thanks, Chip Hayner.
I'll test you next week.
Appreciate the trivia there, Chip.
Yeah, we're coming up on the World Series. We got the American League Championship. Oh, by the way, Houston strong. The Astros are winning 4-0 against the Yankees in the 7th inning, up 2-1. The Dodgers up 2-0 over the Cubbies. Unfortunately, they start the late game tonight past my bedtime, so I'll have to see the score in the morning.
You'll
I'm
wake
looking
up
for the
early
Cubs to
enough.
get swept by the Dodgers.
It could happen.
Right into Lake Michigan.
Whoa. All right, Chip. Thanks. On location. Thanks for the great feedback on our on location at Olive Oil's Pizzeria and More in Brookline. We'll be back November 13th. I got a surprise guest. Johnny Angel, Jack Hunt will be there with his grandson. Got Jamie Chesney there, a couple other people, and a boxer that she's cornering, or a Muay Thai fighter she's cornering, Jill Bell. So they'll be at the show, and a couple others. So come on out there, 7:30 to 8:30, November 13th. Olive Oil's Pizzeria and More. You'll have $5 hoagies, $5 pizzas. You have Smoking Jim Frazier there providing wisdom. And maybe he'll give us one more time. The Steelers don't want to be great. They just want to be 8-8. That's all I got for you on location. Thank you for not changing that dial. We have some Steeler talk. I was right on predicting that the Steelers would rise to the occasion and play to the level of their competition and pull out a win. I didn't know how they would do it because Big Ben still overthrows and underthrows, just like AB made a great catch on an underthrown pass for a touchdown. And then, here's what's a mystery. Smoking Jim talks so badly about, I won't even mention the defensive coach, but look at the offensive coach. We've been talking about Haley, and maybe he had to change a few things. Well, somehow they let Le'Veon Bell run 30-plus times, and it makes a difference. He was running like he's in shape now, game shape, because there's a difference between James Harrison lifting 1,800 pounds and tackling somebody, which he come through, sacked the quarterback, sacked Smith. So James got to play, wasn't wearing shorts on the sideline. They put him in there at 39 years old, and he made a play or two. So it was nice to see some old-time Steelers come back. I am disappointed that Smoking Jim Frazier lost another house. He bet the house on KC, and he'll do that. That's why if you don't gamble, don't start. And if you do gamble and you listen to Smoking Jim, bet the opposite. Who do you got this week, Smoking
Cincinnati,
Jim?
Cincinnati. WKRP in Cincinnati or whatever it was.
Forget about it. I'm going Steelers.
2-0 now, Penguins over the Rangers, coming up on the end of the first period.
Devin Shea informed me that Hagelin scored the second goal.
Yes, sir.
So we got some good guys producing there.
Got the good karma going. Hat.
Yeah, thanks to Devin Shea getting you that hat.
So let's get back to Steelers, okay? You could say Roethlisberger bounced back from that horrific performance. But I do still think that right now that I believe the weak link in our offense is the quarterback.
Well, he's known for his arm, and he's overthrowing everybody this year, Smoking Jim. What's it mean when a quarterback's overthrowing everybody?
Well, usually it means what you guys think it means, but I'm thinking in this case it means that you got a 20-year-old wide receiver who he's trying to get familiar with Juju.
By overthrowing him?
It's just a timing problem. Like Chip said, Martavius Bryant missed basically a year and a half of football. Ben's trying to get that. Coach Tomlin keeps yanking Eli Rogers in and out of the lineup. That's one of his favorite receivers. But he seems to be on target to Antonio Brown, the guy that he goes to a lot. How about Vance McDonald?
He finally caught a pass.
Another new receiver he's trying to get adjusted to, but he hits Jesse James pretty good. So the guys who have their timing down with Ben, AB, and Jesse James, it's not a problem. The other guys, it's a problem. So me personally, I would take Ben every day of the week and twice on Sunday over Aaron Rodgers. I guess I'm in the minority.
Well, Aaron Rodgers is hurt now. So I agree with you because he's not going to be back maybe this season. But Aaron Rodgers was lighting him up like crazy, one of my favorite players.
One Super Bowl.
Doesn't matter, just what he was doing recently.
Yeah, but he's only been to one. He's only been to one.
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
It's called team.
Defense Seattle.
It's called team. It's called team, T-E-A-M.
Well,
what's a team doing?
I believe that Ben, needs to focus more on getting in touch with his receivers. Now, I do remember there always was stories about how Peyton Manning would stay after practice with his wide receivers, and that's what I'm saying. It's obvious by the performance on the field, you see. Peyton Manning used to stay after practice, and his receivers would run routes, and he would, he would get to know what their tendencies were, what their body movements were when they were going into their breaks, out of their breaks, and they'd work on their timing. And I think that we need to spend a little bit more time, at your trade than you do on other things like doing radio shows or
Well, Peyton Manning did all that, and Ben still got the same amount of Super Bowl victories as him. But I think in honor of Y.A. Tittle, who Big John Baker and some of those guys destroyed, I will say this, that you cannot, like we always say, you cannot compare errors. Mm-hmm. I would take Ben because the hit that Aaron Rodgers lost the season on, Ben gets hit like that 3-4 times a game.
It was the fall and the guy landing on him that made a difference.
No, to be honest with you, I think what the difference was is if you watch when Rodgers falls, he tried to put his arm down
That's
to
what I
break his
mean.
fall.
Yeah.
If he would have just tucked his arm under like this, I bet you he rolls over. The guy rolls over top of him. He gets up and walks away.
For a change. He's kind of thin, brittle.
Well, you know.
Good point, Smoking Jim.
But I mean, you know, so the Packers' chances of being NFC champs are, you know, pretty much have gone by the wayside. So now, what do you consider? Now, everybody had before last week, Kansas City was the cream of the crop. Now everybody says not so much. They've been exposed.
What? I had them going to the Super Bowl before the season. Ain't nothing changed, brother. The 85 Bears lost one game, and Miami the Dolphins beat the heck out of them.
Well, the Steelers have pretty much got the blueprint on how to beat them. Look at the last 3 games we played against them.
They may not play them again.
Le'Veon Bell rushing for 140 yards. Le'Veon Bell rushing for 170 yards. Le'Veon Bell rushing for 170 yards. Apparently, they can be beat.
Well, Miami Dolphins had the Chicago Bears as number 2, but they didn't play them again. Steelers got to get there. Kansas City Super Bowl runs through Kansas City.
Well,
You
when you look at
Arrowhead.
when you're playing in a division as weak as the AFC North,
Cincinnati's going to win that division.
you think?
Whoa!
Here's my prediction: Marvin Lewis is going to coach his last season in the NFL simply because Mike Brown will not fire a coach at mid-season because he isn't paying anybody.
He isn't paying 2 people.
Yeah, he's not going to pay 2 people to do that job. And yeah, Andy Dalton is not a quarterback that you could ever count on to win a championship.
I'll be there in Canton when he goes into the Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. Look at the numbers. He got Hall of Fame numbers, man. He cannot be denied. Nobody likes Andy Dalton because there's a prejudice in the National Football League against red-headed quarterbacks.
Little disclaimer, folks. Only Smoking Jim Frazier could get away with that. He pulled out a reverse race card. He didn't even know it was.
You know, I just thought it was a prejudice against Cincinnati Bengals quarterbacks, but you know.
Yeah, Kenny Anderson should be in the Hall of Fame too, and he's not there.
Yeah, I liked him.
Me too.
He was a nice quarterback.
The West Coast offense started in Cincinnati. Who was the offensive coordinator was
Sam.
No.
Coach for San
Bill
Fran.
Walsh.
Bill Walsh was
yeah.
the offensive coordinator.
Good point, Smoking Jim.
West Coast, East Coast.
This is bonus fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. Unbelievable.
And how about, not to change this?
No, go ahead, change it.
Here's how you become a genius. It's not just because I nickname you the genius. It's because you are a genius. You reinvent Adrian Peterson. You got to give Bruce Arians credit. Bring in Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, okay.
He looked like Jim Brown again.
You say genius, right?
Bruce Arians, yeah.
Right.
2-time NFL Head Coach of the Year.
Uh-huh.
Genius. That's genius.
How many championships has he won?
He won the NFL
Boom.
Head Coach of the Year twice.
That means
Nobody's ever
nothing.
won it 3 times.
Yeah, that means nothing. See how many coaches of the year ended up looking for jobs?
He might get fired, but you got to give him credit.
Why do you think he's going to get fired? Because he can't win a championship. If you can't win a championship, you can't be a genius.
He said he coaches old guys good.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, he said it on one statement I caught him.
And anybody thinks they're going to win a championship with Carson Palmer as a starting quarterback?
I just know the Steelers.
He can't answer
the
you.
Steelers went to 3 Super Bowls and won 2 with Bruce Arians. They ain't moving
Right.
back
Yeah,
either.
you know, and I give Mike Tomlin full credit for all of
Well,
I don't
folks,
think Dick LeBeau had anything to do with it.
no,
I just love what Mike Tomlin on a Friday night before the Jacksonville game is sitting in North Allegheny High School Stadium. Oh, that's my player of the week, was Joey Porter's son. He had 3 interceptions for North Allegheny. He'd have been co-player of the week. I forgot to mention him.
hold it. You can't add that in
Can't
now.
add that, so you can't
It's
get
too
it.
late.
Oh, man.
No ink on this.
Collusion against
No.
Porter's boy.
You had your chance.
Joey said, "Don't let him catch you in the South Side."
You had your chance. You didn't bring it up at the beginning.
But what you guys think about that? The head coach is sitting at a North Allegheny game 2 days before they get embarrassed by Jacksonville.
Is there any kind of a problem with him? You know, like Would it have bothered you less if he sat at home and watched the game on TV?
I like my coaches to have a little.
What are you trying to say, Jim?
Little cheap,
you know what? They have a life.
Coach Kyle,
they have a life. You know, they have a family.
Sources?
They have a family. They have things they enjoy doing.
I want unnamed sources out there.
If all you do is, you know, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
I like to bring in the Miami Dolphins offensive line coach here.
Too late.
Get him cheap. Somebody
Too late.
About?
No. He might do some jail time.
Nah, yeah, he would say.
For what? For cocaine?
No, for snorting the 50-yard line.
Who don't snort in Miami, man? I seen that movie
you're not
Scarface.
right.
I seen Scarface, did you?
Yes, you're not right, buddy. We diverted off the subject there. A little bit of Penguin talk.
A little bit of Penguin talk. And the only problem that, you know, it's early in the season, and the Penguins basically had to revamp the team after last year. They lost some free agents. You know, we still have the core group of some of the greatest players in the world, with Evgeny Malkin, Sid Crosby, Letang, Matt Murray,
Hornquist.
The list goes on and on. So, you know, they are looking for the consistency that they showed last year as they got into the playoffs. And that's something that's going to happen over time. They need to keep playing. They had a couple of bumps in the road. There was the one in Chicago. But it seems like they're playing more consistently now, and it appears that they're playing, as Mike Sullivan says, they're playing the right way, I guess, tonight in New York.
And that's his philosophy.
And it really makes a difference when they play the game the way that they're supposed to play it. The results are there. When they decide to try to reinvent the wheel, sometimes the wheel falls off.
And what's unusual is the black guy that we got, Smoking Jim.
Ryan Reeves.
He's only playing 6 minutes because he's known as an enforcer. And Rutherford come out the other day saying how he's sticking to the script. They're using him how they want to, and he stopped some fights that would have been coming about. But he only has 6 minutes of ice time.
Well,
so his skills are sort of limited. This
was something that it took the Penguins a long time to do when Mario was playing for the team in the '80s. They had to get somebody in there to protect him.
Well, it was a garage league back then.
Because, you know, if Sidney Crosby is going to get, you know, basically assaulted on a nightly basis, I mean, for the Penguins to continue to be successful, Sid Crosby needs to be on the ice. That's just
and healthy.
Pretty healthy. Mario's big enough to protect himself.
Oh,
big guy.
They got beat up all the time.
No, Mario is not a fighter.
My second favorite player of all time is Andrew Fleury. So can we?
He's concussed right now.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, Mario. You know,
he's concussed.
I will never have anything but good things to say about Marc-Andre Fleury. It's a shame that in the era of the salary cap, he became a casualty.
You said in the Goodwill Corps?
He got that knee to the head, so he's out right now. Smoking.
But, you know, Marc-Andre Fleury did some great things here in Pittsburgh. He was the first round. He was the first pick in the draft when the Penguins got him.
And we don't win the Stanley Cup last year if he doesn't play.
And, you know, 3 Stanley Cups his name is etched on, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. You know, but, you know, the unfortunate part of professional sports is that you can't keep everybody that you want, and everybody's salary keeps going up every year. When you've got a salary cap, you've got to make decisions. Who's going to get paid and who's not. And unfortunately, Marc-Andre had to go because they had to protect their young, hot goaltender who's 22 years old, who has won 2 Stanley Cups already. So, you know, nothing but good things for Marc-Andre. I wish him the best.
Me too. Steelers win on Sunday. I don't care what Smoking Jim says. Thanks for watching our show. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine.
And here's my
Chip Hayner.
Vontaze Burfict gets suspended after something he does this week.
Smoking Jim. Anything? Last word?
Nothing.
All right. Stay tuned. We'll see you next week. Smoking Jim will lose his second house, but that's okay. He's a gambler. He can't help himself. And please stay Joey strong.